What's up, nerds? It's Pat from the Nerds You're Looking For podcast, and it's Wednesday, so it's time for another Madden Ultimate Team video. So for you longtime subscribers, you're probably wondering where all my energy went. I'm pretty low-key in this particular intro. For the sake of transparency, I actually recently got my wisdom teeth pulled. It was a long time coming, and it was pretty bad. I mean, when the doctor is telling you after the fact how horrible it was and how much he had to work, you knew I was going to be in a lot of pain. Most of these videos for this week were actually recorded last week because I knew I was going to have this surgery and I knew I was going to be in a lot of pain. But this intro and the second part of this video had to actually be recorded today on Tuesday. So it's only been a few days since I had the surgery, so I'm kind of trying to keep it a little chill, trying not to get too excited because I don't want to pull out my stitchings or anything like that. And this is actually kind of a perfect video to do this because this honestly was a pretty low maintenance kind of video. It was pretty chill to begin with. So basically all we're going to do is I went through the predictor challenges for this week, and I'm just going to the first part of this video is just going to go through and I'm going to assign all the tokens, and the second part of this video is we're just going to talk about how I did. So let's get started. Alright, nerds, let's go ahead and get started. What I want to show you this week is something that I came across a couple of weeks ago. Again, I am a complete novice when it comes to Madden Ultimate Team. I've been playing Madden forever, but this is the first year I've really gotten into Madden Ultimate Team. I can't stress that enough. If this is your first Madden Ultimate Team video on this channel, I can't stress this enough. So this has probably been around for a little bit, but I just came across it. It's called Predictor Challenges, and they were really fun. I did them for the first time last week. So basically what you have to do is there's 2 challenges each week, and I've gone ahead and completed both of them. They're fairly easy. Basically, this week's was just a 2-minute drill on offense for both against both teams, and they're both overall 60s, so it was really easy to get them. And basically what happens is each challenge you are awarded, I think, a few hundred coins, but the coins don't really matter. It's about these predictor tokens. And what basically they do is you can complete the set of predictor challenges or sets or whatever you want to call it each week. So what you do is you go down to upgrade sets, and then you'll go over to predictor. And I did week 12. That was the first time I'd ever done these predictor challenges before, and I did fairly well. I think I got like somewhere in between like 21 and 24, right? I got like 20,000 coins or something like that. So my goal, of course, is to get them all right. That would be fantastic. If you get them all right, you get 1,000,000 coins, which would be absolutely huge for my team because I refuse to give EA any extra money. So I'm doing all of this upgrading for my team via challenges and coins. So that would be huge for my team. So what I want to do this week, is, since I've already done the challenges, is I want to go through and actually do some of these predictions. So each game every week has 2 different predictions. One is about who's going to win and by how many points, and the other one is just a random, like, oh, this person's going to rush for a touchdown, or this person's going to have 100 receiving yards, or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. And the first 2 right here is you getting a certain amount of these true-false predictor tokens, and it really doesn't matter. Let's say you get 20 false tokens and the rest of your tokens are true. Well, it doesn't really matter. You could always just exchange them and you don't really lose anything by exchanging them. So that's what these first 2 things are. All right, so Vikings at Falcons. The result, Falcons, I almost said Vikings that time. Man, I'm having a hard time already. So Falcons win against the Vikings by at least 3 points. So each predictor or prediction is worth 250 coins. So, do we think that the Falcons win against the Vikings by at least 3 points? Me personally, and this video is going to be a lot of me kind of talking about football, not necessarily a ton of Madden right now. It's more about me and my football knowledge. So we'll see how good I am. And we're actually, the second part of this video is I'm actually planning on coming back on Tuesday. And we're going to go through and see how I did. So the Falcons win against the Vikings. I think the Falcons will win. But I think it's going to be a close game. And I think the Vikings will keep it close because that defense is really, really good. So we're going to go ahead and say false on that one. I'm not confident about that at all. So like you see here, just all these predictor tokens, all they are is either false or true. So we're going to go with false, add to set. I think the Vikings do. Oh, and I completed a set, so I got my 125 coins. And so we're just going to make our way down. And so this is the actual performance prediction. Mohamed Sanu has at least 50 yards receiving. I think Terrence Newman's going to be on him most of the game. I'll go with true on that one. So we'll go true. I think Xavier Rhodes, the better of the two Vikings corners, is going to be on Julio. So I think, even though Terrence Newman's been around for a while and he's really good, I think Mohamed Sanu is going to pull out 50 yards because it's really all not that hard. I mean, you really only have to have a few catches. All right. So let's move on to Patriots at Bills. Patriots win against the Bills by at least 9 points. I think that's probably true. Even though the Patriots recently in the last couple of years have kind of struggled a little bit down the stretch and the Bills do tend to play them pretty hard, we're going to go ahead and go with true on that. They've just been playing, Patriots have been playing so well recently that I'm going to go ahead and bet on the Patriots. And then Patriots at Bills, Zay Jones has at least 50 yards receiving. That is definitely true. He's been coming on really, really well recently. And the Patriots' pass defense, even though it's been better as of late, they are not very good. So we're going to go with true on that one. So 49ers at Bears. So I'm a Bears fan, so you know this one kind of is close to my heart. And the Bears win against the 49ers by at least 4 points. I got to go true there. I have to. Just the Bears fan in me has to say that we're going to beat the 49ers. It's been really rough this season, but I got to believe that our team is good enough to beat the 49ers, even with Jimmy Garoppolo making his first start for the 49ers. And then Kendall Wright has at least 3 receptions. I'm going to go false on that one. He has been pretty solid for us this year, but he's been kind of hot and cold. I know 3 receptions is really not that much to ask, but our passing offense is really, really bad. I think Mitchell Trubisky's coming along, but he still has a really, really long ways to go. So I think I'm going to go false. Plus, Kendall Wright is mainly a slot receiver, and the Bears don't run 3 wide receiver sets that much because if we're going the way we want to go, it's run, run, pass. Run, run, pass. So, Buccaneers at Packers. Packers win against the Buccaneers. Oh, so they just have to win. I think Winston's coming back this game from what I understand. Aaron Rodgers, I think, started practicing, but there's no way that he's going to play this game. So, Brett Hundley did play better, and the Buccaneers offense isn't very good. Or, I'm sorry, the defense isn't very good. So I'm actually going to go true on that one. Being a Bears fan, that hurts. But I want those coins. So we're going to go true on that one. Especially since there's no point total there. And then Jordy Nelson has at least 4 receptions. The Buccaneers' pass defense is really bad, and Hundley did play really well last game. So we're going to go true with that one as well. So I really like this. I really like sitting down and trying to think these things through. Last week, I didn't do very well, but 20,000 coins for me is a big deal. So, yeah, I'll take that every week for sure. All right, on to Texans at Titans. Titans win against the Texans by at least 7 points. Tom Savage is really, really bad. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins has been still solid, which is good because I have him in 2 of my fantasy teams. But I don't know. Marcus Mariota's been playing really bad, but the Texans defense, they've lost so much. They're just not as good anymore, especially against the pass because they lost those good pass rushers. They still have Clowney. I'm going to go true. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go false. The 7 points is a little too much for me. Both teams have been struggling, so I'm going to go 7 points is a little too much. I do think the Titans are going to win, but that 7 points is too high for me. And then Derrick Henry is going to have at least 60 rushing yards. I'm going to go false just because of the split workload between Henry and DeMarco Murray. So let's what's the next one? Let's move right along here. Broncos at Dolphins. What a shit game that's gonna be. Broncos win against the Dolphins. Oh, so they're not even setting another point total there. Oh man, I think Jay Cutler's coming back, so that actually helps the Broncos. Being a Bears fan, I've seen Jay Cutler play for too long, and against a good defense, even without Talib, I think the Dolphins don't stand a chance to win this game. So we are going to go false. So I wonder what maybe it'll be Jarvis Landry. Oh, Matt Moore actually. Matt Moore has at least 22 completions. No way. Matt Moore is a solid backup, but his accuracy is horrible. I have Jarvis Landry in one of my fantasy leagues, and it's nice to see Matt Moore just feed him the ball, but his accuracy is so bad. Jarvis Landry will get like 14 targets, and he'll only make like 6 or 7 catches because some of them aren't even close. All right, Chiefs at Jets. Chiefs win against the Jets by at least 4 points. So the Chiefs have been really, really struggling. They historically struggling for a team that went like 5-0. They have been really, really just excruciating to watch. But the Jets, even though they've been better than people expected them to be, I still think that the Chiefs are too talented of a team to lose to a team like the Jets, especially since they're setting the point total so low. Like, I mean, the Chiefs were one of the best offensive teams in the league, so I think they beat the Jets by at least 4 points. That's really, really low. And then you have Robbie Anderson's going to have at least 75 yards receiving. That's easy true for me. He's been on fire lately. And they don't really have a whole lot else in that offense. They have Matt Forte and they have Powell, but other than that, they don't really have a whole lot in that offense. So we're definitely going true on that one. All right, so Colts at Jaguars. Jaguars win against the Colts by at least 10 points. I think that's true. I think with that D and that running game, I think the Jaguars are going to make the Colts look silly. I think Jacoby Brissett has done a good job as kind of the luck fill-in, and he's definitely going to have. They're definitely going to have some trade offers for Brissett come the offseason, but he makes too many mistakes, whether it's interceptions or fumbles, and that Jacksonville defense is nasty. All right, Colts at Jaguars again. Blake Bortles has at least 225 passing yards. Colts D is really, really bad, especially against the pass, but they don't want to throw the ball. So I really, really highly doubt it that they're going to need to throw the ball enough to have Bortles throw for 225. That's way too much for him. It's a bad game for the Jags if he has to throw that much. All right, Lions at Ravens. Ravens win against the Lions by at least 3 points. I think that's false. I think the Ravens have been way too hot and cold. I mean, the Lions have been as well, but I think the Lions ultimately are the better of the two teams. All right. And then you got Jeremy Maclin has at least 4 receptions. I'm going to go true on that one. I'm a little bit nervous. It's probably the one that I'm most nervous about because he's been really hot and cold lately. But we're going to go true on that one as well. All right, so next one, Browns at Chargers. Chargers win against the Browns at least by 14 points. That's true. Like I can't hit true fast enough. That is a dumpster fire right now. They are awful. All right. You got Keenan Allen with at least 100 receiving yards. He has been on fire. He's one of my favorite players in the whole NFL. I tend to root for him. I don't know what it is about him. I just think he's kind of a gritty player. He's not super talented at any given area. He just is just really solid route runner, and I just tend to root for him for whatever reason. So we're going to go true on that one. So true on the Browns at Chargers. Which I think I read somewhere that's going to have, they're predicting that's going to have the lowest attendance in NFL history, which doesn't surprise me because the Chargers have not been able to sell their home games and the Browns are garbage. Giants at Raiders, that's going to be another garbage game. Raiders win against the Giants by at least 7 points. The Giants made huge news recently by benching Eli Manning and putting in Geno Smith. That is going to be an absolute disaster. I've seen enough of Geno Smith to know that he was not worth the second-round pick. And so that's going to be a curb stomping. Even though the Raiders are really bad this year and really have not lived up to expectations, so they could definitely play down to the Giants' level, I still think that that's going to be a bloodbath. So yeah, Marshawn Lynch has at least 1 touchdown. Really hope that this is true because I'm starting him in a league that if I win, I'm in the playoffs. So this is the last week of the regular season, so I really need him to do well. So I'm going with my heart, not necessarily my head on this one, and say true. But he scored a touchdown, at least 1 touchdown in the last 2 games. So maybe they've kind of found a rhythm with him in the run game. All right, so Panthers at Saints. This is going to be a really, really good game. I'm looking forward to watching it a little bit. Saints win against the Panthers by at least 4 points. I think that's true, just given all the weapons the Saints have. I do believe in the Panthers' defense, but I think the Saints are going to win, at least by 4 points. Hopefully, so I can get those coins. All right, so Panthers at Saints. Michael Thomas has at least 80 yards receiving. I'm going to go false on that one. The Panthers cornerbacks were young and kind of got picked on a little bit last season, but they had a ridiculous turnaround later in that season and have been solid ever since. So the Panthers look silly letting Josh Norman go, but they've kind of been vindicated since then. So I'm going to go false. Saints have a lot of weapons, and the Panthers cornerbacks are really, really solid. All right, so what's the next matchup? Rams at Cardinals. Rams win against the Cardinals by at least 7 points. Blaine Gabbert, who has been kind of the laughing stock of the league for a while now, being, I think he was like the 10th or 11th overall pick a few years ago. I guess it's been about like 5 or 6 years ago now. And yeah, he hasn't been good since then, and the Rams have been, he's been playing well recently, but yeah, he hasn't been good. And the Rams have been playing really, really good. Speaking of a first-round pick that was kind of picked on a lot, Jared Goff has been playing really, really well. So I'm going to go true. Now, if you've noticed, that's my last true token. But I'm not worried because of the first 2 that we were talking about. These up here, you can change those tokens, and it doesn't cost you anything. You just have to trade in the token. So it's not a big deal. How many more do we have left? Oh, we still have a few. So I'm assuming we're going to have to trade in a few cards here and there. So Jaron Brown has at least 50 yards receiving. We're going to go false there. They have a lot of different wide receiver options, and they've been going to a lot of AP recently. So we're going to go with false on that one. All right, Eagles at Seahawks. Eagles win against the Seahawks by at least 5 points. That's true. I definitely think the Eagles are going to win. All right, so we're going to have to change or change at least one of these. So we're going to go ahead and change a couple of them. I'm assuming I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say that that we're going to at least have a couple of more trues. That way I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. All right. If not, I can go back and switch them back. So, again, it doesn't really cost you anything. Eagles at Seahawks. Eagles win again. Oh, I already did that one. That's going to be true. All right. Next one for Eagles at Seahawks is Doug Baldwin has at least 50 yards receiving. So, we're going to go true with that one as well. The Seahawks have been chucking it all over the place recently. Mostly, I think, due to the fact that Eddie Lacy is their starting running back, and he is garbage. So, I definitely do think that Doug Baldwin's going to have a lot of receiving yards, even though Paul Richardson has been coming along real nicely. He's been injured. He's a good player. He's just been really injured. Oh, they actually have 3 for the Eagles at Seahawks. They usually only have 2 each. Tyler Lockett has at least 4 receptions. I'm going to go false on that one. He's much more part of the return game than he is the receiving game. They usually take a deep shot to him every once in a while, but for the most part, it's Doug Baldwin and Paul Richardson and Fat Eddie Lacy for the first couple of downs. All right, Steelers at Bengals. Steelers win against the Bengals by at least 5 points. We're going to go true on that one, so we're going to have to change another one of these cards. This is annoying, but so false to true. We're so close, I don't want to do a couple, so I'm just going to have to do these one at a time. Come on. I wish there was a way that I could just like go right back. Oh, we only have 3 more, so we should be done soon. Oh, I had forgotten what it was. We're gonna go true. All right. Geno Atkins has at least 1 sack. I'm gonna go false on that one. Sacks are really hard to come by. Steelers' offensive line is really, really good, and Ben is just a magician back there. So we're going to go ahead and go false. So last one for the Predictor Challenges for this week is Steelers at Bengals. So another one that had 3. Le'Veon Bell has at least 100 total rushing and receiving yards. We're going to go true on that one, which I think we're going to have to change in our final token. He's just a beast, and they just feed him. Just feed him. So this will be the last one, and then we'll go ahead. I'm going to end this video, and then I will check in with you guys after the games go final, and we'll see how I did. Alright guys, so let's get started with part 2 of this Madden 18 Ultimate Team video. Like I said in the intro, the second part, all I'm going to do is kind of go through my predictions and see how I did this week. As you can see on the screen, I got 21 correct picks, which I think there's like 34 or something like that. So, I mean, I did decent. I got more than half of the picks correct, but not great. So, like I said in the intro, I did recently just get my wisdom teeth pulled, and so I had a lot of free time this week, and I actually had 4 days off following the surgery, and I played a lot of Madden Ultimate Team. Basically, I binge-watched The Office on Netflix and played Madden Ultimate Team. So you can see my my team overall has changed a lot since then. I basically went through all the gauntlet challenges and beaten those solo challenges. So alright, so you go into the Predictor NFL Week 13, and we're going to check it and see how I did. The first game on the slate was Vikings at Falcons, and the Falcons win against the Vikings by at least 3 points. And I believe I said false on this one. Yeah, I did, which was right because the Falcons didn't even win. The Vikings won. I believe the score was 14-9. So I actually got this one right. And then the next one was Mohamed Sanu has at least 50 receiving yards. And I said true, which this actually wasn't true. I think he only had like 43 yards receiving this particular game. So I actually got this one wrong. So we went one and one for the first game. So the next game is Patriots at Bills. The first one is Patriots win against the Bills by at least 9 points. Let's see what we said here. I said true, and that was actually true. The final score, I'm looking at my phone right now, is 23-3. So I got that one right. And then I believe the next one is Zay Jones. Yeah, Zay Jones has at least 50 yards receiving. I think he only had like 2 catches for like 23 or something like that. So hopefully I said true on that one as well. Oh, no, I should have said false. And I didn't. So I went 1-1 with this particular game as well. So far, 2-2. So the next matchup is kind of the matchup that I felt most invested in as being a Bears fan. Bears win against the 49ers by at least 4 points. I said true. I went with my heart. Unfortunately, that game broke my heart. They lost by 1 point, and Robbie Gould, one of my favorite all-time Bears, was basically the reason the 49ers won that game. I think he had like 5 field goals or something ridiculous like that, and they ended up winning by 1 point. So that broke my heart for sure. So not only did I get the predictor wrong, but I also just obviously wanted the Bears to win because I'm a huge Bears fan. And the next one was Kendall Wright has at least 3 receptions. I only think he had like 2 catches or something like that. So I got that one right because I don't think that Kendall Wright is a big part of the offense. So I went 1-1 every matchup so far. So I'm 3-3 right now if my math adds up. So the next matchup is Buccaneers at Packers. Packers win against the Buccaneers. I believe I said... Okay, I said true, which is true. That probably hurt my heart as well as a Bears fan to say true on that one because I hope the Packers lose every single game of every season ever. But unfortunately, I went true there. So it was I went with my head on that one. I went with my heart with the Bears, and I went with my head on that one. They ended up winning in overtime. It was a pretty awesome game. I only watched a few minutes of it, but it looked like a pretty awesome game. So the next one for that particular game is Jordan Nelson has at least 4 receptions. I don't think he did very well in this particular game, but I think he did have 5 receptions in it. Wasn't for too much yardage, but he did end up having 5 receptions, and so I went true on that one as well. So I got both of them right on that particular one, so that was a good one. I went 2-0 for that particular matchup, and I'm definitely going to lose track. So I think I'm 5-3 right now through 4, so that's pretty decent. Is that math right? Yeah, that's 8. So yeah, there's no way that I'm going to be able to keep track. Eventually, I'm going to, my math is going to be way off. I'm also on a lot of pain meds right now, so you'll have to bear with me. So this next matchup I did horribly at. I went 0-2. Texans at Titans. I said Titans win against the Texans by at least 7 points. I believe I said false here. I did, and I think they won by like 14 points or something like that. It was a couple of touchdowns at least. And then I said Derrick Henry wouldn't have at least 60 yards rushing. He had over 100, and I think that was more me hoping that he didn't because I have DeMarco Murray on a fantasy team that I absolutely needed to win to make the playoffs. It was the last week of the regular season. And DeMarco Murray didn't really do a whole lot for me, and I ended up losing in that fantasy league, and I didn't make the playoffs, so that was a bummer. So I went 0-2 in this particular matchup. Alright, so the next matchup, Broncos at Dolphins, I also did really well. The first one was Broncos win against the Dolphins. I went false on that one, and they got destroyed by the Dolphins. So I got that one right, and this one was a gimme because it said Matt Moore has at least 22 completions. Matt Moore didn't even play. Jay Cutler ended up starting this game and playing all the way through. So he actually didn't get any completions. I went false on this one, and I was correct. The next matchup is Chiefs at Jets, and I went 1-1 in this particular matchup. I missed the fact that the Chiefs were actually going to win against the Jets by at least 4 points. I put true there. I figured it was going to be a close game because the Jets are a better team than most people gave them credit for going into the season, myself included. I thought they were going to be garbage, but they're actually a fairly decent team this year, which kind of sucks for the Jets fans, I think, because I don't think Todd Bowles is a very good coach, and I think this season's going to save him at least one more year as the coach. And then the next question was Robbie Anderson has at least 75 receiving yards, and I believe I said true there. Yeah, I went true. So I went 1-1 this particular matchup because I think he had over 100 yards receiving. I think he broke his touchdown streak in this particular game. He had over 100 yards receiving, but he didn't score a touchdown. So he broke that streak, but still had a really, really good game. And I think he had like 1,000,000 targets in this game too. It seems like anytime the Jets throw the ball, which they actually do throw the ball quite a lot, it's either Curse or it's Robbie Anderson. So the next matchup, I also went 1-1. Colts at Jaguars. Jaguars win against the Colts by at least 10 points. They destroyed them. I believe it was 30-10. So they won by 20 points. And then the second one was Blake Bortles has at least 225 passing yards. This one was surprising for me because he had actually over 300 yards. I figured you tell me that the Jaguars win by 20 points. Chances are Leonard Fournette and Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon had big games because they just run it down their throat. But Blake Bortles actually had a pretty good game. He had over 300 yards throwing. So I actually got that one wrong because I said false. But I got the first one right, so I went 1-1. All right, so the next matchup, I'm going to continue my streak of going 1-1 for the next matchup, Lions at Ravens. Ravens win against the Lions by at least 3 points. I actually went false there. The Lions, I thought, were going to play the Ravens a lot closer than they did, and I actually thought that they were going to beat the Ravens. The Ravens have been very hot and cold, but they just completely destroyed the Lions. It was ridiculous. And then Macklin has at least 4 receptions. He had exactly 4 receptions, so I got that one right, but I got the first one wrong. And again, I went 1-1 with the next matchups, Browns at Chargers. I said Chargers win against the Browns by at least 14 points. I said true. They did not. They only won by 9 points. And then Keenan Allen has at least 100 receiving yards. He had 105, I believe. And I believe I went true on that one as well. I did. So I got that one right, but I got the actual score wrong. So we finally broke my 1-1 streak in the best way possible in this next matchup. I actually went 2-0 with Giants at Raiders. I said the Raiders would win by at least 7 points, and they did. And I also said Marshawn Lynch, one of my only fantasy players that did well this week, would have at least 1 touchdown. He had over 100 yards and a touchdown. He had a touchdown by like the first quarter or something like that. Like it was like his first carry or something like that. He went like 50 some yards for a touchdown. He ended up going over 100 yards. So one of my only fantasy players that did well this week. So we're going on a little bit of a 2-0 streak now. Panthers at Saints. I said Saints win against the Panthers by at least 4 points. Said true on that one, and they did. And then I also said Michael Thomas would have at least 80 yards receiving. I actually said false on that one. So I think he had actually a pretty good game, like 5 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. But he only had 70 yards, and the question was 80 yards. And so since I said false, obviously I got that one right. So I went 2-0 that particular matchup as well. So we are on a roll. Rams at Cardinals. Rams win against the Cardinals by at least 7 points. I said true on that one, and they did. And then Jaron Brown has at least 50 yards receiving. He didn't even have a catch, and I said false on that one. So I got 2-0 on that one as well. So back to 1-1. So I got this one wrong. This first one, Eagles win against the Seahawks by at least 5 points. They got blown out, but I did get the Doug Baldwin one correct. He had like 80 some yards receiving. I said true on at least 50 yards receiving. So I went 1-1 on that one. Oh wait, there's another one. So Lockett has at least 4 receptions. I said false on that particular one, and let me check. I was not prepared for this one. So let me do some double checking. He had 2 receptions for 17 yards. So I was correct on that one. So I actually went 2-1 on that one. I forgot that this one had 3. And I believe the Bengals and Steelers also have 3 as well. Yeah. All right. So I'll make sure that I double check that before I start in on this particular matchup. All right, so I've double-checked everything, and I actually think that I did pretty well on this one. I think the only one that I got wrong, well, maybe I got this Bell one. Nope, I got the Bell one right as well. It said Le'Veon Bell was going to have at least 100 total rushing and receiving yards. He had over 100 receiving yards just by itself. So I definitely got that one right. I said Geno Atkins had at least 1 sack. I said false on that one. He didn't have any sacks. I think the Bengals only had 1 sack combined as a team, and it wasn't Geno Atkins. And then the Steelers at Bengals. Steelers win against the Bengals by at least 5 points. I believe I said true on that one. Yeah, and they only won by 3 points, so that one's actually wrong. So overall, I think that I did pretty well this week for Predictor Challenges. If you like this particular video, I know it's a little bit low-key, more about football than it really is about Madden or Madden Ultimate Team. Let me know by hitting that like button. That helps us out a lot. It kind of just tells YouTube, but it also tells me that you really liked this video and you want to see more of this type of content. As always, I will put all of the other links to all of our other stuff, including the podcast, The Nerd You're Looking For, in the video description below. As always, my name is Patrick Kuhn, and I'm the Nerd You're Looking For. Take it easy, guys.